The dealer who had $2 million of sports cards stolen at the most recent Dallas card show has come out and decided to offer a $70,000 reward in support of getting those cards returned. He's also come out with some additional photos of the alleged thieves, and they're pretty clear, and I think it's going to be pretty quick that these guys get identified. So I'm going to present those to you in case you haven't seen these topics yet, and in case you guys can help identify this individual, because it's quite, an unfortunate situation. It's one that, like I said last time, we need to band together and try and help out our fellow collectors. Now, if you're not sure, like I said, you can please reference my earlier video, but Days Sports Cards was the individual who had these cards stolen. It's the ones in these photos here. It's basically $2 million of cards, very expensive Babe Ruth cards, Mickey Mantle rookie cards, etc., etc. That was stolen from the Dallas card show. Now, what was interesting, it looked like it was quite a sophisticated approach in that you had 3 individuals involved looking to distract the employees from the booth itself. And I'll play the video very quickly for you guys now in case you haven't seen it, but you can sort of see here, this dude works for the table, this guy does as well, and I think this guy over here in the lime green shirt does as well. And you can sort of see here, there's 3, alleged perpetrators trying to actively distract the staff. This guy comes walking over to get this guy's attention. You can sort of see here the angles they're all taking to try and make sure the staff are all facing away from the guy in the blue shirt who comes in, picks up the case full of those $2 million cards and leaves. Now, what you sort of saw at the early part of the video was this guy with the blue shirt was sort of actively, stacking chairs, pretending he was busy, pretending he maybe worked for the show in order to try and stay anonymous. And it's just quite, an interesting, situation, really unfortunate one. A lot of guys are putting blame on the dealer. Like, yes, they should have been a lot more conscious, but what you guys need to keep in mind is, mistakes happen, right? And these guys were quite, sophisticated. It looks very basic, but, they really did a really good job distracting all the staff. And again, there's 3 of them there working that table. So inherently, their guard is a little bit let down because they think, well, there's 3 of us here, nothing's going to happen. But just the way these guys worked them was pretty good, in my opinion. But like I sort of said, the dealer has basically decided to come out and offer a reward, and they've thanked everyone for the support. He's listed his phone number there. Oh, sorry, that's the Allen Police Department. But you can DM him if you want. But he sort of says, we've decided to offer a reward of $70,000 USD for the return or information leading to the return of the cards that were stolen at the Dallas card show. Now, some people have sort of come out and said, well, these guys are, in on it. Maybe the dealer's in on it to try and get an insurance scam. That's an absurd piece of thing from my perspective, because the video footage that we have here is so damning. I'm going to show you more in a second, that you can sort of identify these people, and it might not happen overnight, but eventually these people are going to be named and shamed. And, if you try to do an insurance scam in that instance, you're not going to do it in a situation like this, in my opinion, because these guys will get caught really easy, and they're gonna just drop and rat out everyone else the second they get pinched, right? They're not gonna shy away from things. They're gonna rat, because that's what people do in situations like this. So if the dealer's involved, they're gonna get caught out really quickly, which is why I don't think that they are. Now, this is one of the individuals involved. He's the one who actually picked up the case and left, and it's just quite, again, an alarming situation. But there's clear footage of this guy looking straight at cameras and things like that. So he's going to be caught pretty quickly. So, if you attended the Dallas card show and you have video footage, see if you've got this guy on camera. See if you bumped into this guy. See if you know this guy. See if you've dealt with him in the past. See if you can recognize his face. And if you can, chat to Day Sports Cards on Instagram. Now you can sort of see there, Wax Museum Podcast put out a few vlogs, and I messaged him and dropped a comment, I should say, on one of his videos saying, did you happen to see these guys? He said he couldn't see anything in the background. But again, if you're somebody else attending these shows, please, have a look and see if you can see it for yourself. Now you can sort of see here, this is the same person. The photo on the left was taken on Sunday. The photo on the right was taken Saturday. So that's what he was wearing when he took the cards, and that's what he was wearing the day before. Now, what's also interesting is there's like footage of these guys collecting their cards or their, wristbands when they walk into the show. You can sort of see that here, which, goes to my point that I made a little bit earlier, right? Like, you've got guys that they're going to get pinched eventually, right? They're going to get caught by the cops at some point. Somebody's going to identify them and try and get that 70K reward, or just dob these guys into the coppers. And, it's not going to be hard because they're not wearing masks. They're in a, public venue where literally every man and their dog is sort of sitting there and, recording things for their mates and recording things for their channels and recording things for their Instagram. So it's like, you're not going to be hidden for long, right? And it's just wild that they were so brazen with it. Like, they just did it in the middle of the freaking day, and they just did it, at a show as big as Dallas. So, it is what it is. And again, I sort of didn't allude to this enough in the first video I did on this topic, but these guys, want to prey to whoever they pray to that they haven't sold or destroyed or done anything with these cards, because theft is one thing, but the second you add, conspiracy to sell stolen goods and all those things, right, it just makes the whole situation a lot worse. And somebody was talking to me about potentially looking at a life sentence in Texas, which is a bit crazy to me, but I sort of like that because we need to sort of stamp this kind of crap out. But it's just an interesting one. So like I said, they're incredibly brazen with how they've gone about it, but they don't want to make the situation worse. So if the guys are seeing this video, just turn yourself in, deal with the fact you stole goods and sort of move on from there, because sort of every second that ticks by and every second and every instance or every action you make afterwards is just going to make the situation worse. Like I said, it becomes conspiracy to sell stolen goods, etc., etc. So it's an interesting one. Hopefully this gives some more people some context. If you know those individuals, please reach out to Day Sports Cards on Instagram. We need all the help we can get on this one. I don't care if other people have talked about this and talked about the $70,000 reward. If I can help, that's all that sort of matters to me. So, let me know your thoughts down below, and we can sort of chat about this in a future video too. Some things you can do to protect yourself. Like I said last time, putting in an air tag inside your case. On your more expensive cards, putting air tags maybe in the back of the sleeve. If you're selling, at a card show or you're going to a trade night, make sure you've got clear photos of all your inventory, even of stuff that you maybe just picked up. Like, yes, that stuff is not things that we think about, and sometimes you will forget to do that, but the more you can do that, the better protected you're going to be, because in situations like this, whilst you can see in the dealer's photos, if I go back to that, you can sort of see, the serial numbers for some of the cards. It's a bit blurry, but if you go ahead and take a bit more time to make sure you're, maybe scanning everything or taking really high resolution images of these cards, you're going to have the certs more clearly visible, which means it's going to be easy for people to maybe see them out in the wild or spot them. But then more importantly, what are you going to do in a situation of these guys just cracking the card out and trying to sell it raw? Like, you're shit out of luck in a situation like that. And I sort of alluded to the guys maybe doing that in the last video, because there's no way they can sell these on the open market. But in that situation, if they've cracked it out and it's raw, it's a bit difficult to try and figure out whether it's your card or not. But if you do what I just said and take, scans of your graded cards or take high resolution images, when you see it show up raw, you can, spot that a little bit. It might be a little bit difficult, but, you can still maybe see if it's the same card or not. Or you can go ahead and share it with the graders, and the graders can say, okay, well, when these cards come in, we're going to compare them to your high resolution image and try and do a bit more research before we go ahead and decide to grade this card for our customer. Again, only small little things, and maybe they don't work, but those are the things that we need to sort of start thinking about. And also, like I said last time, that a few others I think have started to talk to now as well, is what can these card shows do to better protect its dealers? And I think it has to go back to what I said about watches and jewelry shows and those kinds of conventions. They have safes on hand for dealers to use. And whilst in this particular instance, the show was sort of packing up, so the stuff was, there to be packed into their cars and taken home. So maybe it wouldn't have been in a safe, even if there was a safe as an option. It just gives more, comfort to these guys, and more protection to dealers, and just makes everyone feel a little bit more confident about taking high value cards to shows. Because then the other question is, well, is this going to impact on people wanting to take bigger cards to shows? I don't think so, but I think that's just a really important lesson and reminder for people. And just one thing, I'm ranting now, I'm rambling, but when it comes to safes at watch shows and jewelry conventions and the like, they basically have them behind the booth, where it's like a physical safe that basically gets picked up every night or sort of left there but bolted to the ground, etc. Like, that might be a bit difficult for a card show to do, but for Dallas and the National, that's almost what you'd be expecting, especially when it comes to the amount of money that's being invested these days and spent within this space. So, it is what it is. I think it's been really good to see, so much involvement from top dogs within this space, big time influencers talking about this as well. And I hope these guys are caught soon. So, quick recap: $70,000 USD reward. If you know those guys, reach out, because you can make yourself some money. And even if you don't want to take the money, donate it to charity or something like that. Hopefully we can get some good out of this. Number one, get those cards returned, and then hopefully make someone's life happy by identifying these guys and getting some money your way. So it is what it is. Check out those photos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.